Hello everybody, what's going on? I'm the Admiral, and we're back as I try to focus my camera. There we go. I'm back with another weekly sports update, so let's go ahead and get started with something that really grinds my gears about sports. Alright, let's start with high school football. Yeah, I know, high school football, not many people follow that, but what the hell, I got something important to say about it with something that happened. Alright, high school team won in Texas 91-0. Now, if you follow sports, you know that's an ass kicking. If you don't, well, if you lose anything 91-0, you probably got your ass kicked. So, a parent of a player on the losing team decided to file a bullying case. Really? They lost 91-0 and you're filing a bullying case? Come on. Really? I mean, it's not like they were running up the score either. It's like they would try to grind the clock out, and the other team would just go 3 and out like 20 seconds and get the ball right back. But what are they supposed to do? Take knees? That's not gonna help. That's not gonna do anything. I mean, bullying case. I mean, so of course they have to go investigate it now, and I mean nothing came from it, but still, come on, man. Now let's go to somebody who has been noted as a bit of a bully in the NFL. Let's start with Brandon Merriweather. I got two things to say about Brandon Merriweather. The first one's pretty obvious. Well, the dude made a comment about having to, quote-unquote, tear people ACLs instead of hitting them high. You gotta end their careers, tear their ACLs instead of hitting them high. I understand where you're coming from. You're not allowed to hit players high, so league, you're doing something right. But at the same time, they got to do something about these hits to the knees. I mean, too many players. For instance, Sam Bradford tore his ACL, but that wasn't really on a hit. Brian Cushing, Randall Cobb, they're all on hits to the knees because defensive players don't have anywhere to go. They can't go high. They can't go up around the high chest because refs see the head whip back and think it was a helmet-to-helmet contact and it's 15 yards. So I think they should institute a replay for that, honestly, if whether or not, like in college, they have the targeting replay. Of course, they don't overturn the penalty, but they could overturn the ejection, which is something that I don't really want to get into because I disagree with that entirely right now. But they need to do something about this. I mean, come on. If I were a wide receiver, I'd probably rather get hit high than get my ACL torn, get my meniscus torn, get my MCL torn, get my knee destroyed. Personally, I would. As somebody who's been through a lot of knee injuries, ACLs, MCLs, dislocations that broke my knee, literally broke my knee. It sucks and it hurts, and you just feel, I mean, you feel hurt, obviously, but especially in the NFL where wide receivers make their living running, jumping, catching, where you need your legs. Personally, I'd probably rather get hit high. I know there are some wide receivers who agree with me, some who don't, but I'm not here to debate about that. What the league needs to do is the following. They need to keep going with the above shoulder hits with one caveat, if the player is crouched over at all, they need to completely overlook that. Because there are so many people who get the ball and they duck down and they get hit high and it's a flag. They covered up. Come on. Where are they supposed to hit them? In the 2 feet of space? I mean, come on. This game is being played so fast, you gotta give them some slack. If somebody bends over, if you bend over, your head's at your waist. If you hit them in the head, that's not a problem. I mean, running backs do it all the time. You don't get flags for that. Why is it any different for wide receivers? I'm not even going to go into the quarterback thing because this is just, I don't want to go into that. I'll go into a quarterback who's been getting hit too much in a little bit. But the other thing, Brandon Merriweather, I'm sorry, I'm getting into Brandon Marshall. Brandon Marshall called him out, said blah, 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 reached out to him, praying for him. Brandon Merriweather said, I believe the quote-unquote was, would you rather have someone who plays aggressive on field or someone who beats their girlfriends? Now, in case you didn't hear about this, Brandon Marshall got charged with domestic abuse or battery for beating up a girlfriend a few years ago. Obviously not in jail or imprisoned or anything, but it's still out there. It's kind of like the OJ case, but not exactly that high magnitude. But I understand where you. No, that was a low blow. Literally, like taking out somebody's MCL was a low blow, Brandon Merrill. There's no place for that. Come on, man. Yeah, I said come on, man. That's like two things I've had to mention come on, man, for. If I didn't mention it for the bullying one, well, come on, man. I don't know, but honestly, I'd probably rather have Brandon Marshall on my team than Brendan Merriweather because he's a better player in my opinion, but not going to do that either. So now let's go into a wide receiver who is arguably the best of all time, Calvin freaking Johnson Megatron. Let's start with the Lions and the Cowboys. All I remember hearing this. Oh, the Cowboys are going to be above 500 for the first time at the halfway point of the season, the first time in so many years, blah, 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 blah. And all I keep thinking to myself is there's a minute left, and the Lions have Calvin Johnson. Excuse me. And they're playing the Cowboys. Alright, so there's about a minute and a half left in the game. The Cowboys have the ball. They run first down, -3 yards, timeout Detroit. Run second down, -1 yard, timeout Detroit. Now Detroit's out of timeouts. Third down, they run off left tackle for like 9-10 yards, and holding offense stops the clock. Oh my god. I mean, they declined the penalty, so they didn't get to run another play, but stops the clock about a minute left. It's 30-24 at this point. There's a minute left. Detroit gets the ball at like 20. First down, pass, 0 yards. Reggie Bush took like 5 seconds off the clock, so we're down to like 58 seconds. I don't know what the exact time was. I'm just ball working. Second down, about a 15-16 yard dart down the middle of the field to Calvin Johnson. Come up, spike the ball. There's about 40 to 45 seconds left. Monty Kiffin runs a cover 2. Detroit knows that. They didn't come out of it for the prevent, which means the deep sidelines are open, and guess what happened? Boom! 40 to 45 yards. Downfield, out of bounds, Chris Durham. Heartbreaker, but it's still at the end of the game because they're only at like the 17 to 20 yard line with like 20 to 25 seconds left. I don't know. And then, boom, down the right side to Calvin Johnson, down to the 1 yard line. There's about 10 seconds left. Master Stafford hustling everybody up to the line of scrimmage, and spikes. No, he didn't. He snuck it in from 1 yard. Because he saw the defense was lax and lackadaisical standing around like this. Like, they're not ready. So I guess he stood that. His offensive line didn't power off the line either. I mean, he got everybody by surprise. But they won 31-30. Megatron put up 329 yards. What? 329 yards. Second most all-time in a game. Behind, I don't know, I think the record's like 336. He was like 7 yards off, and he only had 1 touchdown, but he got stopped inside the 5 like 4 times or something. Got tackled inside the 5. But he's making a serious case for being the best wide receiver of all time, dude. Now, more from this game. I'm not going to go into the whole Des Bryant thing because I didn't hear what he was actually saying on the field. I know he was mad, but I mean, they lost in that fashion. All I heard was his post-game where he said, with his passion. I understand that. You gotta keep your composure. I mean, pissy Tom Brady up in New England doesn't, but apparently it's okay for him to lose his cool every once and again because he's got 3 titles. I mean, that's such a double standard. All the sportscasters out there that said, oh, Tom Brady has earned the right to do that, bullshit. Bullshit. It's such a double standard. Complete double standard. But what are you going to do? So we're going into the next game. The next team that's having serious problems. Sorry, my eyes are hurting. I don't know why. I guess because I just took my contacts off for like the first time in like 2 months, which is not good. I would not advise doing that. So we're going to Seattle. Talk about the Seahawks. Anybody watch that Monday night game where the Rams defensive line, Robert Quinn and Chris Long sacked Russell Wilson like 6 times? That makes me think the Rams' defensive line is pretty good. Now, there's one other team that's getting a lot of sacks from the defensive line, and that's the team in Kansas City. That's 8-0. Which makes me think, if the Rams could stop them like that, why can't the Chiefs stop them like that? which makes me think I think the Chiefs could beat the Seahawks in a 1v1 game. And look at me sounding all professional. 1v1, that's not what they say. But also big from this game, Sidney Rice tore an ACL out for the year. So that's not good. Luckily for for Seattle, they got Percy Harvin coming back relatively soon, within the next 3 to 4 weeks. But I mean, they're 7-1 now. If they don't finish with the number 1 seed in the NFC, I'm not sure they go to the Super Bowl. I don't know. Oh my god, why am I so tired? I don't know. If the NFC goes through the Superdome, I don't know if Seattle can make it to the Super Bowl. Because you got San Francisco, you got Seattle, you got New Orleans, you got Green Bay. All very good teams. I'm not so sure. Oh, another team that Seattle struggled with a good defensive line, the Carolina Panthers, back in Week 1, where they won 12-7. I just want you guys to remember that Week 1 they won 12-7 over the Panthers, who are a good team. They're probably a little better than the Rams, but that's not the point. The point is, they're not the Chiefs. The Chiefs are good. And they have a defensive line and a pass rush with like 4 rushers that can do that to you. Seattle's missing like both their starting tackles or something like that, which is awful. I don't know why. They also decided not to run the ball. Marshawn Lynch had probably like 40, 45 yards. They're not going to win if they don't run the ball. He's their best offensive player. Oh my god. I don't know why I'm so tired. I don't know. So hopefully it'll wake me up for the rest of this video. But I don't know if they can do it. But if they're at home, New Orleans going to Seattle. Seattle wins that game. I'd bet on that. Let's go to another team that's really, really good, but struggling just a tiny bit. The Broncos. Did anybody see that game against the Redskins where Peyton Manning turned the ball over 4 times? Say what? That's right. Peyton Manning turned the ball over 4 times. I'll tell you what. For the first 3 quarters of that game, they got trucked by Washington. A 2-5 or 2-6, something like that. I don't know if they've had their bye yet. 4 turnovers to the Redskins, albeit, granted, they got 31-0 in the 4th quarter and wound up winning like 40, 38, 21, something like that. But what the hell is going on out here? In the words of the great Vince Lombardi, 4 turnovers. Imagine playing the Chiefs like that, which is what they're getting ready to do. Not this week, but I think it's next. No, not this week, not next week, but the week after. Yeah, so this week Denver's got a bye. Next week Chiefs have a bye, and then the week after that, I think it's in Denver. Now, I'll make my picks about that later, but Peyton Manning and the Broncos receivers didn't help him at all. The Redskins corners, especially D'Angelo Hall, who had 2, I think he had both picks, but the 2 outside wide receivers, Demaryius Thomas and Eric Decker, they got stalled at the line. Peyton Manning's good at throwing the ball quick, but you can't do that if your wide receivers are in a hand fight 2 seconds after the ball snapped. That leaves Wes Welker, and Wes Welker, well, he didn't exactly have a good game either, getting off the line of scrimmage, which means Denver's very beatable, and they already lost to the Colts. I don't know, it's going to be iffy, but now we go to the undefeated team. And the question is, are they really the best? Well, their record would imply that they are. However, they haven't really played anybody good, but they are beating everybody. No doubt there. Denver's not, Seattle's not, New Orleans is. Nobody's beating everybody except Kansas City right now. Doesn't mean they will beat everybody, but I don't know if they're the best team. They're definitely in the top 4. Top 4, actually top 5. Top 5. You got, this isn't in any order anyway. It's the Chiefs, the Broncos, the Saints, the Seahawks, and my 5th best team is the team in Cincinnati. The Bengals are playing astonishing football right now. I use the word astonishing, yes. Their defense is really good. They held Tom Brady to 6 points. Granted, he's having a very bad year. His stats are terrible. His wide receivers are garbage. They're like It's like he took wide receiving core from college, which is exactly what he did. He's got 2 rookie wide receivers, but they're still 6-2. So I mean, he looks hurt. And then you see that Cowardly Lion picture of him from Giselle's Instagram. I knew he was a wimpy douchebag crybaby, but I mean, I guess he finally admitted it. Oh well. But inconsistent, still 6-2. The Bengals are looking. Andy Dalton has looked great this year. AJ Green is arguably the second or third best wide receiver in the NFL. They've got a good dual-headed running attack with Green, Ellis, and Bernard. Their offensive line's good enough. Their defensive line is really good. Their linebackers are really good. And Andy Dalton is playing really, really well. He's thrown like 3 or more touchdowns in like 4 straight games or something like that. 3 straight games, something like that. I don't know. But this dude Marvin Jones, he had a great game against the Jets. I'll get into them after this. I wouldn't expect that anymore, but they got Mohamed Sanu, they got Tyler Eifert, they got Jermaine Gresham, they got Marvin Jones, they got AJ Green, they got Green Ellis, they got Bernard. Scary team. But I don't know if they're Super Bowl contenders yet because they're kind of like the Falcons. Good in the regular season, get to the playoffs, and I gotta see you win a game before I can put you down to make a run at the Super Bowl. I'm sorry. I don't even remember the last time the Bengals won a playoff game. It was like in the 90s. I don't even know if I was born yet. But all I know is they're definitely in the top 5. I mean, the Colts are up there too, the 49ers and the Packers, the way they're playing right now, up there. But I'd still put the Bengals ahead of both of them. I would. And now we can go to the Jets. Inconsistent. Fluctuating. Up and down. Hot and cold. There's only a few of the ways to describe the Jets this season. They're good one week. They're really bad the next. Let's go to week 1. They beat the Bucks. Geno Smith played well. Week 2, he throws 3 fourth-quarter interceptions to the Patriots. Week 3, they played the Bills, and he put up like 360 yards and a few touchdowns. Week 4, they get demolished by Tennessee, 38-6. Week 5, who did they beat week 5? Shoot. Atlanta, Monday night, puts up 199, 16 out of 20, 3 touchdowns. A game that I went to, which I was very happy about. Week 6. Who did they play week 6? Who did they just play week 6? Pittsburgh. 2 picks to the Steelers, their first 2 turnovers of the year. They lose 19-6. Inconsistent. Week 7. They beat New England in overtime. Week 8. They get demolished 49-6 to the Bengals. See where I'm going here? They're good and they're bad. Their curve is like this. It's legitimately like this. I don't get it. Which means that they're probably going to finish. They finish 8-8. That'll be perfectly like this for them, probably. I mean, they're playing the Saints, and this last week was down, which makes me think that they should be going up, but not against Drew Brees. They're going to go over, and then up, and then they can go over when they play the Dolphins and the Bills and the Panthers and the Browns and the Ravens and all that fun stuff. But inconsistency at its finest right there. Which, another thing inconsistent is the AFC wildcard situation. The number 6 seed in the AFC. Who the hell is it going to right now? I think San Diego has it right now. Talk about inconsistency over the past few years. San Diego Chargers, New York Jets come out 1 and 2. And you look at the other teams who are vying for that. The defending Super Bowl champion Ravens, 4 and 3, or 3 and 4. Yeah, I think 3 and 4. The Dolphins, they were 3 and 0. Now they're 3 and 4. Tennessee Titans, 3 and 4. Jay Clark coming back could help them. I don't know. They could make a playoff run. I don't know. They could. They're a good team. They got a good defense. Oakland 3 and 4. Pittsburgh not getting a wild card. No. Now I'm going too far, but I'm not even going to go into the NFC wildcard situation because, That second one, it's not entirely up for grabs. I mean, Detroit has it right now. It's probably going to be Detroit, Chicago, or Carolina. But the first one's going to San Francisco or Seattle, whichever one doesn't win the division. But that's enough football right now. I mean, the trade deadline passed. There wasn't anything really to talk about because nothing really happened. But I don't know. I'm surprised Larry Fitzgerald didn't go anywhere like the Patriots or the Colts or the Packers, with teams that need number one wide receivers because they don't have one or they're hurt, like the Packers. Randall Cobb, James Jones, Michael Finley, hurt. The Colts, Reggie Wayne, out for the year. Patriots, they don't have anybody. They have Gronkowski, and Tom Brady is looking like shit this year. I know I already said that, but I had to say it again. But anyway, I think we're done with the NFL for right now until I make my predictions for the upcoming weekend. So let's go ahead and go to baseball. World Series. Talk about inconsistency. Nah, it's not really inconsistent. It's just sloppy, especially games 3 and 4. Let's talk about game 3. It ended on an obstruction call. Okay, walk-off obstruction call. Alan Craig got hurt sliding into home plate, even though he didn't even have to because, I mean, he was out, but he was safe because of the obstruction call. So he wound up taking that awkward slide, hurting his foot for absolutely no reason. He went into the dugout and didn't even know what the call was. Come on. Game 4 ends on a pickoff. Great. Just great. You got Beltran up at the plate, down by 2, with a pinch runner on first, and you get picked off to end the game. You leave arguably probably the second best postseason hitter out there right now at the plate with his bat on his shoulder. The best, of course, being David Ortiz right now. Oh my God, I'll get into his tear in about a minute. But come on. Game 5. I think Game 5 sealed it for the Sox. I don't know if they're going to win tonight in Game 6. I mean, Walker's been pitching really well. He's like 4-0 with like a 1.00 ERA in the postseason. The only way the Cardinals win tonight is if they walk David Ortiz every time that he comes to the plate. Let me give you some splits. He's batting .733. 2 homers, 6 RBI, 4 walks. 11 out of 15. 11 out of 15, I think. I think he's hitting 11 out of 15. Let's do the math. Yeah, 733. So you add the 4 walks, he's 15 out of 19. The dude's got an OBP of 7, 8, 9 in the postseason so far. However, you walk David Ortiz. The next batter up is Mike Napoli, who's also been very hot. So, honestly, I'd still rather deal with Mike Napoli with a man on than David Ortiz. I really would. MVP, no doubt. You just heard what I said about him. Did anybody see that speech he gave in Game 5? Game 5, I think, before Gomes hit that homer. Or am I in I might be in the wrong game. I might be in Game 4 instead of Game 5. I think it was. Actually, you know what? I think it was Game 4. I think it was. But MVP, which means the Sox win. I think they win in 7. The Cardinals aren't winning 2 straight in Fenway. Not with Waka and I think Kelly. I don't know who Game 7 Boston would have. I don't know if it'd be Peavy or Buchholz. Because Peavy just doesn't pitch well in the postseason. But I don't know. Game 6 tonight, I think the Cardinals win. They can win. Not they will win, they can win. If Ortiz is... the dude doesn't run on the base paths. He's an elephant. He's not even just an elephant, he's a slow elephant. If you guys know Pokemon, you know Pokemon Excavalier, the steel bug thing with a really high attack, which is like David Ortiz, with like base 20 speed. David Ortiz has about base 20 speed. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that. So let's go to the NBA now. Season opener tip-off was last night. We saw the Miami Heat get their rings in a pretty nice ceremony for David Stern. I don't know. I didn't really care either way. We saw the Bulls play the Heat. We saw the Heat end in the first half with like a 52-24 run. The game was over by the end of the third quarter. Derrick Rose like 4 of 15 from the field, 15 points. Rusty, but kind of like RG3. Rusty, they lost, but I don't put that all on him. The Bulls just can't play the Heat. The Heat looked really good, but I'm not sure if I picked them as a contender yet. I want to see everybody else play. I want to see them play the Nets. I want to see them play the Pacers. I want to see them play the Thunder, the Clippers. I'll get into them in a second. The Spurs, I'm blanking. The Warriors, the good teams. And the Bulls are pretty good. The Knicks are not going to be good. I mean, I'm a Knicks fan, but they'll finish 5th in the East and lose in the first round to probably Chicago. Chicago or Brooklyn. I don't know. I hope it's not Brooklyn. I really do. Because they're just the freaking Celtics. Plus Darren Williams, Joe Johnson, and Brooke Lopez. I hate the Celtics. I really do. Hate the Celtics, hate the Patriots, hate the Bruins. I'm not even going to talk about hockey. And I hate the Red Sox, but I still think they're going to win, unfortunately. Now we can go talk about LA. LA won last night. The Lakers. LA lost last night. The Clippers. The Lakers bench scored like 71 points, and their fourth quarter they scored 42. The bench. The Lakers bench. Excuse me? Hello? People had the Clippers going to the NBA Finals, Western Conference Finals, and they lose to the Lakers bench. The Lakers are not going anywhere in the playoffs if they even get there. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying the Clippers, you need to stop and take these championship mentalities out of your head. Play the game today. Because you can't win if you don't get to the finals. You can't get to the finals if you don't get to the conference finals. You can't get to the conference finals if you don't get to the second round, and blah, 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 blah. That's all I have to say about basketball. Now let's go to BCS, the college football. We had a flip-flop at number 2 this week. Oregon and FSU swap places. Big deal? No, it's not. It's only the second BCS week. It's week 8. If FSU puts on a clinic against Miami this weekend, they'll switch back. It doesn't really matter. Alabama is almost unanimous number 1. Number 4, Ohio State, but demolished Penn State. I'm sorry I doubted you guys last week. I thought Penn State might have an upset, and they lose like 63 to 19 or 14 or something like that. I don't know. The other thing about the BCS standings is number 5 is Stanford, number 6 is Baylor. What? Baylor's undefeated in a power conference. They haven't played anybody yet. They beat Oklahoma. They should top them. Now, right now the way it is, if Stanford wins out, wins the Pac-12 title, and Baylor wins out, wins the Big 12, is Stanford going to stay ahead of Baylor? Is Stanford hop over Ohio State? I don't know. I don't know if a one-loss Stanford team that beats Oregon, beats UCLA twice, wins the Pac-12, overtakes an undefeated Ohio State team that goes undefeated in a very weak Big Ten with no out-of-conference schedule. I don't know. But that's why there's so much more football left. There's like 4 or 5 weeks left for every team. Conference titles. A lot could happen. A lot of rivalries. A lot of conference games. The teams lose. Let's look at Missouri. They lost to South Carolina. Are they done for the year? Did they just kill they killed their shots to the national title? I think they did. I don't think a one-loss Missouri team overhops Florida State, Oregon, a one-loss Stanford, unless they win out and they beat Alabama. Only way. But I don't think that's going to happen. They still got to play A&M, and then if they win their division, which isn't even guaranteed right now because South Carolina has 2 conference No. Yeah. I don't know. I think they have 2. South Carolina lost to UGA and Tennessee. Right? Yeah. 2 conference losses. If Missouri loses to A&M, which is likely and possible, South Carolina wins the East. Alabama beats them in the title game. So Alabama, they got Auburn, LSU left. And the title game. If they win out, obvious number 1. If they lose 1 game, I don't know what happens though. It's just shenanigans, but let's look at the other part of the BCS standings. Let's get out of the tops, other than I'll make my picks in a little bit. Fresno State, Northern Illinois are 16 and 17 right now. They're that high already? I mean, Fresno State's signature wins of the year are 1 point over Rutgers in overtime and 1 point over Boise State. I don't know who the hell Northern Illinois played. But they're 16 and 17 already, which leads me to believe that one of them's going undefeated. One of them is crashing the BCS. That team's going to get wrecked. And you know who they're going to get wrecked by? Oregon or Stanford, whichever team does not win the Pac-12. Or Clemson, Florida State, Miami. One of those teams is going to completely demolish them. Like, it's going to be ugly. Ugly. I think it is. I think it's going to be like the Sugar Bowl with UGA and Hawaii a few years back that ended like 45-3. I think Matthew Stafford was the quarterback for UGA back then, actually, but I'm not entirely sure. That's not important. What's important is my picks for the weekend. So World Series Game 6 tonight. I got the Cardinals winning, the Red Sox winning Game 7 though. NBA opening weekend, I don't know the matchup, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to skip that. So let's go to matchups for college football. We got number 21 Michigan visiting number 22 Michigan State. Big rivalry game. I think the Wolverines pull it out 23-17. Got UGA versus Florida, the biggest outdoor cocktail party, something like that. I got UGA winning 30-20. I got Tennessee, Missouri. I don't know. Tennessee just beat South Carolina. I got Tennessee winning 24-23 in my upset pick of the week. Oklahoma State, Texas Tech, 18-15. I got Texas Tech winning in a high-scoring game, 42-38. Number 7 Miami going to number 3 Florida State. I have this 41-13 Florida State. It's not even going to be close. Miami has been playing like shit lately. Florida State's going to trounce them. Jameis Winston throws 5 touchdowns. That's it for college football. All the bigger games that I'm going to pick this weekend. Bengals, Dolphins. Bengals, I got them staying on track, but Miami really needs to get back on track. It's a Thursday night game, which means it's going to be sloppy. Dolphins have a chance. If they lose, they're out of the playoffs. If they win, then they're right back in the wild card race. But I got Cincinnati winning 34-13. Wow. Monday night game. Bears, Packers. Big rivalry. The Pack offense just been looking great. The Bears defense got slashed by the Redskins 45 points. I got the Pack winning 38-20. Without Cutler, the Bears don't have a shot. Colts, Texans. Case Keenum got named the starting quarterback for Houston. Now their season's done. I got the Colts winning 34-17. Now I'm going to pick every game this weekend. I got Kansas City beating Buffalo, Dallas beating Minnesota, the Rams beating the Titans. I got San Diego beating Washington, New Orleans beating the Jets, Carolina beating Atlanta, Oakland beating Philly. I think Nick Foles is starting now. I got Seattle beating Tampa. I got Baltimore beating Cleveland, and I got Pittsburgh upsetting the Patriots. And that's going to go ahead and wrap up this sports report. I want to thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. If you got anything you want to say, comment down below. And if you liked it, be sure to like the video and subscribe so you can stay up to date with all the stuff we're doing over here on this channel. I will see you guys all next week with another Phantasmo episode, Sports Talk Chat. If you guys want me to talk about anything in particular, be sure to message us, comment down below. I will see you guys all next time. Peace.